Hello, hello. Welcome to the Coming Home to You Sparkcast, the sanctuary for soul-led women, healers, mamas, visionaries, and leaders just like you, ready to rise fully in their light. Every episode here is medicine, joy, healing, and truth that will change how you see yourself forever. Here we remember what it means to come home to ourselves, beyond the roles, the noise, and the expectations, because coming home to you is not a destination, it's a devotion. And progress over perfection, each episode is an invitation, a step on the journey, and a breath of remembrance is a chance to reconnect with your true inner self and embrace the unique path unfolding before you. And now, before we dive in, let's begin as we always do with our one heart, one breath ritual. So take a moment to just soften in your seat, drop your shoulders, arrive in this moment, be fully present in this space. Take one deep inhale, allowing light to fill your body. Hold it at the top. Exhale slowly with a sigh, releasing what no longer serves you. Again, breathing in together as one, really feeling our hearts connect in this space across time and space. Breathing out, anchoring into love, into our truth and remembrance. Now let's uh, pause here for a moment for joy spark of gratitude. Think of something and call to mind a moment that you're grateful for. Feel that gratitude expand through your chest, glowing, growing. And now imagine that ripple out to the circle of sisters listening now and in the future. Now, in this space, I want you to set your intention. How do you want to be received, to be held in this space, to show up, to be heard? And now, in this space of one breath and one heart, we may begin. So, welcome. Today, I have the absolute honor and privilege of welcoming my personal coach and powerhouse of purpose and heart, Melissa, or as I knew her, Missy Lane. She's a life and executive coach, magnetic business mentor, and devoted mother of nine. Melissa is a radiant example of what it means to lead with both strength and soul. With decades of experience guiding others through transformation, she really helps women and leaders reclaim their confidence, magnetize their message, and align their life and business with divine purpose. Gorgeous work. Through her work, she reminds us that true success is not just about strategy. It's about alignment, faith, and freedom. Her story is one of perseverance, passion, and the power of choosing yourself over and over again, no matter what challenges life brings her. So please help me welcome Melissa Lane to the Sparkcast today. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me, Margarita.
It's truly a blessing to have you here. I'm so excited for this conversation and where it's going to take us. So we're just going to get going because time is of the essence, right? Especially as a busy mom, we know time that, we get to be concise. So let's get started. And where we always go is the deep rooted start, that moment where you reclaiming your identity. You've walked an incredible journey from motherhood to leadership to creating a magnetic business rooted in faith. Before all the titles and the transformations, who was Missy at her core? And what values or experiences shaped the woman and leader you are today?
Yes, I really appreciate this question in particular because it's had me think back, like really think back pre-transformation, pre-titles. I've had titles since I was really young. I was a teen mom. That was a title that I didn't particularly like. It was a title that brought
Mm.
me a lot of shame. Um, so who is Missy at her core? I have always been fundamentally a lover of people. Like I heard my mother tell me when I was really young that I would to put some myself in other people's shoes. Like the like empathy to put myself in other people's shoes. And so since I was really young, I have put myself in other people's shoes to a fault. I became a chief chameleon, like blending into absolutely everyone. And Marguerite, I walked around this world going like, "Are you my mom? Like, are
Oh,
you my mom? Will you tell me who I should be? Will you tell me the right way to be?" And all that fundamentally came from two places. One was deeply loving people and seeing people. And I think I wanted to be seen deeply too. And so if I could give that away to people. And then I chose to like blend into everyone. So I lost me. Underneath all the titles, underneath the work that I've done and all the accolades was a little girl who didn't know who she was and was afraid to discover who she was. I feel like I've
mm,
spent especially the last 5 or 6 years, giving myself permission to discover who I really am.
mm,
The other thing I want to highlight is that I grew up in trauma. So I feel like I had trauma since before I was born. My dad left me before I was born, and I grew up in trauma. And so I had a mentor tell me about 10 years ago that she's like, Melissa, if she's listening, because she could possibly listen to this, but she said to me, you're somebody who you really take everything that the world gives you and you overcome it. Like there's nothing that this world could throw at you that you wouldn't have overcome. And I agreed. And that was like a badge of honor. Like I
mm,
am a warrior. And I really saw myself as a warrior. But what I wasn't creating was anything that I wanted. So I was
mm,
living my life with creating what you might want me to create and not what I would want to create. So much of the last 5 or 6 years has been discovering who I am and what I want, and then creating that life. And then this love of people that I really have is I want to live in a world where people like are creating the life that they want, especially moms with all these titles and these hats, women with the weight of the world on their shoulders, and how, I'm reminded right now, Marguerite, of the Barbie. Have you seen the Barbie movie?
yes,
Like, okay,
yes,
like the very end when she's like, be tall but not too tall, and be nice but not too nice, and be like bold but not too bold. And like, I want to live in a world where men and women actually are all of themselves, and
yes,
we're
fully
raising
authentic.
children who are all of themselves. Yeah. Does
Why
that
do you think, here's a question, why do you think we get trapped or stuck in that people pleasing of wearing the masks? I'll put on this mask over here because that's what you want me to be in, but I'm going to take it off and put on this other one. Like, why do you think we do that? And then, because I think I'm hearing that that's kind of how we all be. So,
yeah. I mean, for me and much of the work I've done with people, it seems to stem from two places. Like on one side, it's like safety, and on the other side, it's loved. Like, who do I get to be safe and protected? Either I will find someone to protect me, or I must protect me. And then in love, like, so that I can be loved. Like, I had a fundamental belief that I was not lovable.
mm,
And so I would require the mask or the colors, the many shades. Like I look behind you, all the sparkles. Like I would figure out how to blend in to be safe and how to blend in to be loved. If I stand
mm.
out, you may not love me. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So when we start to acknowledge and recognize, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know those patterns. We think as a child, especially, that everybody goes through the same thing we go through, right? This is just a way of life. You just
Yeah.
accept it. So when you get to the place where you learn something new or you ask those questions, because you loving people so deeply, as you said, you're like, there must be more. There must be more. There must be a way to change and shift this. So there's that rising spark of overcoming and reframing.
Hmm.
You often talk about breaking through self-sabotage and the power of choice. What
Hmm.
was that defining moment for you when you realized that you were meant for more? And how did you reframe the fear, especially that doubt that really tries to hold us back?
Yeah. I love great question. You ask really good questions.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, so the defining moment for me was actually the beginning of COVID really wasn't that long ago. I I remember, so for to answer your question specifically, I've always known. And I like, if I could look at the listener like right in the eyes, like I would be like, you know. Like I've always known I was made for more. Margarita,
Hmm.
you've always known you were made for more.
Hmm.
I believe we're like born with that spark. We're born with that flame inside. Like now then the world happens, or like we got shut down, or we like whatever happened in our childhood, and some people have like really traumatic childhoods as well. But long before like my earliest memory, I knew I was made for more. I knew I would create something huge. I just didn't know what it would be or how I would do it. And then life happens, and then life happens, and then and life and life and life and life. And so fast forward, now we're like right around the beginning of COVID. I'm not real happy with myself as a mom. Like mom guilt, mom shame. Like I'm not happy about how I'm showing up as a mom. I'm not
Hmm.
happy how I'm showing up. I was going through severe panic, severe depression. This is like right around, I just had twins at 40. Woo! Like all
Woo!
this is happening. And I did a visualization. And in the visualization, I envisioned myself like in like weight released off of me, and I'm standing on a stage, and I had this image of me fast forward like a year in the future. And innately inside of me I knew to ask, like, what did I do? Like I created this with myself, like what did I do to get here? And I realized like in this moment I'm strong, I'm active, and I made this mantra for myself, like I'm a strong active mom, I'm a strong active mom, I'm a strong active mom. And then I left the visualization and I put into action being strong and active. It was truly the only, and it got me through COVID, number one, which I probably shouldn't even saying that word on this. Like, do they still block you for that? Sorry if they do. Anyway, it got me through lockdown and being in isolation. I also released like 40 pounds off my body very fast. There was another, I don't remember the third word. There was another word in there, I just don't remember what it was. But I really embraced strong and active. So when life would throw me, like the twins, one was colicky, he would be colicky, and I didn't want to be strong and I didn't want to be active. I wanted to be in a bed. Like, and I would get up and go for a walk, or I'd get up and go for a run. I like took on this mantra of who I was in my future, the woman that was on the stage. And what I learned, what sparked in me was that I could actually create this for anything I wanted in the future. Because the woman that was on the stage that was weighing 40 pounds lighter, she was strong and she was active.
Hmm.
And so I like took that on until it became who I was. And so I don't know that that necessarily answers like fully your question, but that was a defining moment for me. I just didn't want to be who I was anymore. And since then, I generated lots of other experiences to support growth and taken on new mantras, and my vision has expanded so much bigger.
I
Yeah.
love that. And I think it does because what you said that was so important is you started with visualization. And oftentimes we forget the power of just having a vision to what we want because we get stuck in the cycle loop of only thinking of what's not working and all
Mhm.
the problems and all the challenges. And we don't realize that in the process of thinking that we're visualizing it and putting energy and emotion into it, therefore co-creating this very thing that we're rejecting and not wanting and complaining about. So I love that you really grounded us in that being your changing moment because it's so powerful. It's simple, but so powerful in shifting the way that we feel and think about the world in our situation. So thank
Yeah.
you. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you also talked about mantra, which I heard be a sacred tool for you, but oftentimes we have a tool belt of sacred tools that we need, right? Because some things work in the moment and other times you need something more or something, you need something quick. You don't want to spend an hour and a half meditating. So we all have gained some tools. And as a life and executive coach, you blend faith, strategy, and mindset so beautifully. What are some of those sacred tools or practices that help you stay grounded and magnetic when life feels overwhelming, especially as a mom of nine and a business leader?
Yeah. Well, going back, I don't think we can talk about vision enough. I feel like, there's a proverb, without a vision, the people perish. And truly
Mm,
not, if we don't know where we're going or why it matters, another word could be intention, like really being
mhm,
clear, then we tend to, it's like I get lost, like I will fall flat if I don't know why something matters. So just like repeating that, because vision is so important. But how do I stay, like you asked, okay, from an executive coaching point of view, when people are not achieving anything, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's the relationship or um, something they want to create in a relationship or something they want to create with their team or the money in their business, if they're not creating that 100% of the time, their vision is unclear.
mhm.
And some people feel like they're just not inspired. It's not an inspiration problem. It's they're not clear. In fact, Mark Twain says I can help anybody get what they want in life. I just can't find anybody to tell me what they want. Like if we just spent more time, talk about visualization, if we just spent the time. See, once we like actually put words on what we want, we become vulnerable to it. So it's easier to say I don't know what I want versus like this is what I want, and then like taking action towards it. But before, if we can't see it, we can't create it. So like giving
It's
ourselves
also
permission.
it's also easier to say what you don't want.
Yes. And when we say what we don't want, we create more of what we don't
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
It is easier. And it's easier to talk about all the things that aren't working versus this is what I want. So even though it wasn't one of the points I was going to mention, I was going to say my answer was going to be taking care of myself, grounding my energy, loving, and all of those are important. Like all the results that we have actually come from who I am. It comes from my beingness. But if I don't know what I want, then, for example, until I could see me on the stage rocking my red heels, I don't even wear high heels. But in that vision that day, I saw heels walking across the stage. And it was when I saw that vision of me and her body and her discipline and who she was, like that wasn't the mom I was. Now, that was a vision of me as a business leader, but it impacted my family and it
Mm.
impacted my discipline. So I really feel like if what we created, if every person like listening today would spend time with themselves, even just 5 minutes, like to what do I want in this really in my career? What do I want in my business? What do I want with my kids? What do I want with my husband? Like what do I want with a future partner? If we would just take that time it's loving to give yourself permission to dream and to actually like put words on what that is. And then in answer to your question, like what are some actual tools in my toolbox? The number one thing the gift that I've given myself is to spend time with me. I would
Mhm.
say after the initial spark that we've already talked about, the next greatest breakthrough was actually spending time with me, which was that's what I was avoiding at all cost. So I was doing and I was over here doing, avoiding me. So grounding my energy, it sounds so silly, bubble baths and going to the beach and spending time with me has actually been quite healing.
What shifted for you in starting to make that choice to choose you and self-care?
Yeah, so there's a transformational saying that I've heard so many times, which is like we break down to break through. So
Hmm.
anytime there's breakdown over and over and over and over and over again, there's a good chance that if I like will look in, I'll find a gift. And so I
Mm.
was breaking down in promises to me. So I would promise, for example, I'll go for a walk at 2 o'clock. Well, I would not go to a walk for a walk at 2 o'clock. I will journal tonight. I would not journal. I will, and I would break my word over and over again to me. I was
Hmm.
pretty good at keeping my word to other people because I also have a looking good. Like I'm like, I want to look good. So I will keep my word to you. But when it came to me, so I just noticed over and over again, I was breaking my word to me. And I put myself on a 24-hour stretch to not I could not support anyone for 24 hours. The first thing that happened was my Mimi called and was like, "Hey, can you help me move these things over here?" And I was like, funny enough, I can't because I told myself that I wasn't going to help anyone. And so I really get to honor myself and I was just 24 hours with me. It was the toughest 24 hours. I wanted to
Wow.
say yes to her,
Well, I
but
what I hear too is that an opportunity showed up for you to be like, okay, are you for sure you're going to be a yes to you? Because I'm going to have these opportunities come up that are going to
yeah,
make you break your word. And so I love that
yes.
you honored yourself in that moment.
Yes. Yeah. And it took the full 24 hours. I slept like 12 of them. But I don't know how many moms out there don't sleep. They don't sleep, they don't shower, like everything's for someone else. Yeah, so I got to do 20. I took myself and got my nails done and my hair, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. I got put in a massage chair for like 2 hours. Nobody even like came back. But
Oh,
at first I was like, you know, in my head, I had all the stories of like I'm sitting in this chair and they're not coming back to me and it's my one day off and I was telling myself all these stories. And then I realized, talk about you like breathe us into gratitude. All of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. The chair is massaging me. I'm listening to music. No one's calling me. I can't answer them even if they call. And all of a sudden I realized like this is magical. And after that, the whole day started to shift. And by the time I did the full 24 hours, I couldn't wait for the next one. That was nearly, I believe, like 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years, it was a long time ago. And I now have regular self-love days. I will, I don't know about full 24 hours, but sometimes because I've learned like whatever I need, it's love. It's actually caring. How can I expect you to love me if I don't love me? Like I can't expect a partner to love me or like I've got to give it to myself first. But it took that radical 24 hours that no one understood. I think Mimi did. She was like, "Okay, honey." But it didn't make sense on the outside. But it was absolutely transforming on the inside. I'm really grateful that I chose it and yeah. So it kind of ties it
radical
together.
act of self-love. But I need to write that one down. Sorry. Okay. No, that's beautiful. And I think what I heard you say is just pausing to pay attention to your patterns. If you don't like what's happening and you feel like it's happening over and over again, just like stop to pause to see your pattern, get curious, and ground yourself back in your vision and ask yourself, what is it that you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
choosing something new.
choosing something new.
I mean, like Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And I did that a lot with a badge of honor. I'm a warrior, right? My badge, I was a badge of a warrior doing the same thing over and over again, and like this is as part of my work, I'm really passionate about it. Our identity is not fixed. Our
Mm,
personality is not fixed. The labels not fixed. Like we can choose, I can choose to be someone else and create it. Like I'm not fixed in what your opinion of me is or what my opinion of me is. Like I can actually shift it all. And I did believe identity was fixed. But
I
it's
think
because
we
I
all do.
had it as the what do you say I am? And
Mm,
then I'll be
mm.
that. Yeah.
I think you hit it on the nose. For me, I when I felt stuck, when I felt after having two kids and then, like how that changes and how the responsibilities shift and the mom guilt, like you mentioned earlier, like hit hard. I started to really lose that sense of identity, but I realized it didn't happen when I became a mom. It's been happening since way over here.
Yeah.
Hearing other people's opinions and judgments or expectations of me, I started believing, okay, I'll do this. And then no wonder why I started not showing up authentically or honestly, or would have moments where um, life would just unravel because I wasn't being in my truth. So thank you for
Yeah.
really hitting that home. And I see so much of myself in you. And I know that's why you chose me to be in your pod because you saw so much of that. And I think it's so important when you do start to open up and share your truths. You start to recognize you're not alone and you're not the only one feeling the same and going through the same, just in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's so important to really have that community, that sense of belonging and inclusion. And I think we feel fulfilled when we know we're creating an impact that is powerful and positive. And you've really built a community so beautifully of women who look to you for inspiration, realness, authenticity. What do you believe are the keys to creating authentic relationships and leadership and the kind that so like empowers and uplifts and transforms truly from the core?
Yeah. So it kind of goes back to my initial, like my fundamental value of loving people and hearing people and seeing people and loving people. Um, every single one of us have value. Like we all have value. And so often we see it in others before we see it in ourselves.
Mm,
And so like for me, I value other people and them, like people seeing who they are and going after what they want. Like I genuinely value that. And so like for me, like when people are around me or in my community, or like I want to build a community and be around people who are seeing other people, like
mm,
truly seeing other people. And that only happens when we lay down the masks. And, I said years ago I would write a book. And so it's probably the book I get to write, but I would write a book, The Quitter's Guide to Quit Quitting. You asked earlier about sabotage, like how, right? Um, and to me, one of the fundamentals is authenticity. Like, how do we quit quitting? It's like, we got to lay down the masks and allow each other to be seen, but it's a scary world to be seen in. And so I feel like one of the feedback I've gotten throughout life and definitely in the last, 5 or 10 years is, and really I would say long, I even have I have adult children now who have adult friends who I've known since they were in their teens or early, like 10 or so. And they would probably say the same thing, is that I create space for people to be free to be who they are.
mm,
And that's the legacy and ripple. I could cry like when I think about it. Like that's what I want to create out in the world, is a safe place for people to be safe being who they are and rise up other people who feel confident and comfortable to be who they are. Um, while also there's the caveat is who I am is not actually who I am either. Like so it's like that's why I fundamentally like the freedom of like, I could just cry, like it's crazy, why are you getting me crying? But the freedom of like I'm free to be me today, and I'm free to reserve that tomorrow I may be different. In other words, like I want to create that space that people can morph and be who they really are. I'm not sure if I'm answering that, but that's what's coming alive in me right now.
mhm,
um and one other thing that's coming up is like, so many people want what they want, and if you would just give me the strategy, like if you'll just tell me how to get there. And yet it's just not that simple, because I could give you the strategy of like get in the car and drive here, but life throws detours. And
mhm,
so it's so not about strategy, although strategy is important, but it's more of like who am I and who am I being, and like, yeah. So I fundamentally believe in power and authenticity, which I believe power and authenticity are the same. So who do I get to be so that people's light, like their power and authenticity shine? And when you shine, like I love, this is the Sparkcast. Like when you're shining, you actually light the spark of someone else. And that's the world I want to live in, where we're all like lighting each other and there's freedom to be fully expressed in who we are.
This podcast wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, first of all. So I just want to say thank you for showing up for me. It's so important, community. You said so beautifully to surround yourself with people who see you fully for who you are underneath all of it. And you stood for me. 4 or 5 times you stood for me so powerfully and not a space of judgment and not a space of frustration. You really were open. You saw me and you lovingly called me forward. And ever since then, I've been on this journey of asking myself those questions, and being curious and not allowing my smallness or the fear to get in the way. And it is a journey, it's not a destination. And when you surround yourself with people who are also doing the work, it really helps to empower you to continue because you see the value and the impact that it makes.
Yes.
And so, so for those listening who really feel called to connect with your work, where can they find you and learn more about the coaching and the community that you are creating?
Yes. So right now I have a website, and that website is currently being built, melissalanecoaching.com, melissalanecoaching.com. And I do know that there's a link that somebody can click to book a call. So if there's something's coming alive, they can definitely book a call to sort of see what's there and if there's potential for partnership. I definitely I believe again in lighting people's like lighting them up and breaking people through. And sometimes it's a one call and sometimes it could be joining a community or whatever that looks like. But melissalanecoaching.com is where they can find me. And also Melissa Lane on Facebook. Facebook is kind of the place I hang out. And that's where you can find me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Um, sorry, I need to calm down from that one. All right, so we're wrapping up this call, and it's the final question, and it's all about the home within. And for those listening who are feeling lost in the chaos of life, trying to juggle family, faith, their dreams, their fears, what powerful reminder would you leave with them about coming home to themselves and trusting the process of the becoming?
Um, um, I love how you just asked that specifically around trusting the process of the becoming. And I like to say it's more of the art rather than the art of becoming, let's have it be the art of unbecoming.
Mm,
Because who someone truly is at their core, their light, their power, their authentic being is actually under. It's under. So, like, doing the work, whatever that looks like, whether it's working with someone like you or me or transformational leadership's another great place to be. Like, there's so many modalities. You did breath work right at the beginning. There's so many modalities that can support counseling, therapy. There's so many that can get the stories off and allow like your true self to shine. And the biggest takeaway I would give like is that you're not fixed. Like first you're also not broken. But and you don't need to be fixed and you're not fixed like finite. Your identity, in fact, like one of my I'm just going to share it cuz it's coming up for me is like I have a vision to do an event. It was going to be called Dare to Shine. I don't know what it'll be called now, but it is specifically around this, Margarita, around like our identity, because we can believe that the labels are who we are and or like the personality or whatever. But that's the biggest thing I would say is that you're not fixed finite as who you are. You can actually choose any version you want to be and then step into it. And there's a song that I keep hearing in the ethers right now, which is if you can dream it, you can do it. Like if you can dream it, you can do it. Like nothing too far. I don't know. Go find that song. It's a great song. Um, but that's where I want to inspire those that are in your community today and those that would hear this in the future that if they can dream it, they can have it.
mm,
Whether that is like tangible, which I think sometimes people forget that they can have actual tangible results. They could travel the world. They could launch that business. They could write the book. Like they could have the book in their hand, tangible. And then I also believe that we can dream like who am I being when I actually write that album? Wink, wink. And sing those songs. Okay. Like, yeah. So like if we can dream it, we can have it.
mhm,
So it's like dream it, like dream, 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 because really believe that vision and dreaming it is where the secret sauce is, and that nothing from the moment we take our first breath to the moment we take our last breath, nothing is fixed.
mm,
Nothing is fixed. So everything, if you love your life, that can also fall away, like, so in other words, like nothing's fixed. Like we get to like be in this progression of like, what do I want and who do I get to be and doing the work. Yeah.
Yeah, what I also heard you say too there was important is just live into that vision as if you're already in it. Like
Yes.
how does that person that you see dress, talk, who do they hang out with? Where do they go? What are they driving? What are they eating? How are they walking? Like
Yep.
put, positioning themselves. It's like it really is not just about dreaming and vision it. It's like really like powerfully into the intention of it being this already happened. You're just
Yeah.
remembering. It's a
Yep.
remembering.
Yeah. Yeah. So like
Oh,
there's this dreaming. I'll say this, Marguerite, because you just said that. There's dreaming it, and then there's taking one action. In other words, like you don't have to take, for example, let's just say somebody wanted to create an album and record all, right? Just saying, all you got to do is take one action after that. You call somebody that has a studio, you write down a couple. It only takes one action, and then it's like 10 more actions will meet you. So no matter what somebody's faith is, God, universe, whatever that is for them, like you take the step and it's like you like divinity, angels, God himself like literally meets you where you're at and brings you forth. So yes,
mm,
there's the dreaming and the vision, and then there's the one action. I got stories for days
oh,
of how this works. It is quite miraculous. um
that's
yeah.
when synchronicities come in, right? And
Yes.
that's when like people and conversations, because you're open and you're making and you're um I heard too, dreams without actions are just what is it?
Wishes. It's a wish.
Wishes.
Hmm.
The wish. There you have it. Missy left us with the biggest, I think, most important tool, and it is just having one small, simple step, because that is easy to do, and it's chewable, it's bite size, it's not overwhelming. So just ask yourself, what is one small step you can choose to do today in every moment that is going to be in your vision? So thank you so
Yes.
much for being here. It's such an honor. So, as we close this empowering conversation with Melissa Lane, we are reminded to look beneath the roles, the titles, and the expectations, and remember who we are before the world told us who to be. Beneath it all is that little girl, the one who is curious, resilient, and still yearning to discover who she truly is. Melissa reminded us that safety and love are what we all seek, and belonging begins when we choose to see ourselves clearly with compassion. We all have defining moments, and in each one, we have a choice to reframe, to choose love, and to rise even stronger. Because when we are all born with that spark, we are. And that one that whispers, you were made for more, listen to it because you are. This journey of self discovery isn't about strategy, it's about who you are being. It's the radical act of self love that lets you take off the masks, stand in your truth, and know your worth. Create a mantra that calls you back to your power and visualize your highest vision. And remember, without a vision, we perish. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? We break down to break through. There is always a gift in the pain. So pause in gratitude. Notice your patterns and allow yourself to be seen in your wholeness. Surround yourself with a community that celebrates truth, freedom, and authenticity because power and authenticity are one and the same. And you, sister, you were born to shine. If this conversation sparks something within you, if you heart cracked open just a little more, maybe you felt seen, heard, or simply not alone. I ask you to please share this and subscribe to our channel because when you do, this content can really reach the women who need that reminder that she's not alone, that her voice matters, and that healing is possible for her too. Remember this, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Until next time, sisters, keep shining, keep rising, keep coming home because you matter and you are enough exactly as you are. I'm your host, Margarita Rose, here today with the beautiful Melissa, aka Missy Lane. on the Sparkcast coming home to you. We'll see you next week. Same time, same Spark channel.